Good squad, is the big homie SB23 back at you with some more words of wisdom. Today we're going to talk about how to build a bond with your kids. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. SB23 on YouTube, Chosen123 on YouTube. Those are both my channels. You'll get these gems on both channels. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for stopping by, hanging out, soaking up the knowledge, spreading it to whoever might need it. I'm hoping that you're having a good day, and I'm sending love out your way. And if you want me to touch on any other topics, drop a comment in the comment section and let me know. You know what I'm saying? So, how to build a bond with your kids. And this one is another simple video. It's easy. I think we overthink it sometimes. When it comes to building a bond with your kids, it's all about the quality of time that you spend with them. It's not about all this stuff that you do for them. And that's not to say that the stuff that you do for them as far as buying them material stuff or taking them on trips and vacations and extracurricular activities, whatever it might be. That stuff is all cool. But at the end of the day, all kids really want is your time and your attention. You know what I'm saying? So, and the reason why I know this to be true is if you look back on it, like when we were kids, that's all we wanted from our parents is time and attention. And when I say time, that's why I said quality time. You want the time to be quality. You could spend a lot of time with somebody, but it not be quality time, and it actually be a detriment to that person. So in this instance, we're talking about our kids. You know what I'm saying? So quality time, and quality time means that you are in a good space energetically, and because you're in a good space, your kids are feeding off of that energy, and you're building core memories with them that are going to be rooted in good energy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, think about if you were planting a seed, you want to plant that seed in not fertile soil. You would want to plant it in rich soil so that the plant that you're trying to grow would come out and grow into its full potential. It would be as strong and resilient as it needs to be to survive in this world. So that's the way you got to look at it. And again, you can't make up for the lack of quality time with material objects. You know what I'm saying? So again, you can't. That's why, think about it, that's why there's a lot of rich kids who find themselves in a lot of trouble, because yes, they have everything material wise because their parents may have, were inherited a fortune, or they worked really hard and they spent all their time working, so they built up their own comfortable way of living. But because they put so much time and energy into making the money and not enough time and energy and quality time and spending time with their kids, there is a rift between the kids and the parents. And therefore, yes, the kids have everything that they could want material wise, but internally there's a void that's being left because there was no quality time being spent. You know what I'm saying? Again, think about it. If you plant a seed and then you never water it or give it the nutrients that it needs to grow, then that plant is going to grow up weak and brittle, as opposed to if you put in the time and effort to make sure that you watered it consistently and gave it the proper nutrients that it needed to thrive. In other words, what am I saying? Give it the proper energy. You put the proper quality time of energy into creating this plant, and then it would grow into this fertile, strong plant. You got to look at it like that. So it's the same way with kids. When you put the quality time in with your kids and is rooted in good energy, then your child is going to grow up with confidence and stability, as opposed to when you don't have enough time for them and you're putting your focus solely on everything outside of them. Once you have a kid, your kids are the most important thing, should be the most important thing to you in the world. You know what I'm saying? And in order to properly take care of your kids, you have to first properly making sure that you're taking care of yourself. because you can't be there for anybody else if you yourself aren't in a good space. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing. You know, you got to look at yourself, and maybe there's some things that you might have to cut back on in order to show up and be a better presence for your kids. You know what I'm saying? And nobody's perfect. We all have our off days. I am by no means a perfect parent. I look back on things that I could have done better, for sure. And I think we all have those moments where, you know, we look back and we say, man, I could have did that better, or I could have been, you know, however you felt like you needed to be in the moment after the case, and you look back on it. But once you realize that, then you just make adjustments. You know what I'm saying? Like the power, like I said in my other video, the power of choice. You know, when you're moving a certain way and you kind of see what the effect is on your kids, then you got to make a choice as to how you're going to switch your movement so that moving forward they could be in a better space with you. Because I think what we don't understand too in this world is that we all feed off of energy. So whoever is around us, we're gonna soak up the energy that of the people who are around us. So if we got negative type people around us, then we're going to be soaking up that type of energy. And kids are more tapped in with energy and how the world works than we are. It's not until they get older and get indoctrinated into this society and what it's pushing on us that they kind of lose touch with what they're naturally born with. And that happened to us as kids. Like as kids, we were naturally good at letting energy flow and having a good time. But because of our circumstances and the circumstances of that our parents were in, we would soak up the energy from the adults and what we were being told, and that would disconnect us from what we were naturally born with. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, when you have that understanding, then you have to look at it like that, and you want to create the proper environment for your kids to thrive in. And a good way to do that is, again, making sure that your energy is in a good space. So because you got to understand that your kids are a reflection of you. So if your kids are acting out, it's something that you're not doing right within it, because it's something about your energy that they're soaking up. And because they're soaking that up, that is the reaction of them acting out. Oftentimes kids act out because they want attention, and it might be because you're not giving them the attention that they want. 9 times out of 10, that's why kids act out, is because they want some quality time with you, or they want some attention, but you're not giving them the attention that they want. You know what I'm saying? So it's just being aware of how these things work, how energy flows, and what impact that you're playing on your kids, because kids are observant. They hear what you're saying, but they're not going to listen to what you say if what you're doing doesn't match what you're saying. So you have to be the leader in that aspect of, if I say don't do this, then they can't see you doing what you told them not to do, because they're just going to be like, well, yeah, okay, you're telling me not to do that, but you do that. You know what I'm saying? So I can't take your word for it when you're not even following your own words. You're expecting me to follow the words, but you're not doing it yourself. That doesn't make sense. And again, think about it. If it was even with us, if somebody came up to you and said, don't do A, B, and C, but you see them doing A, B, and C, you ain't gonna take that person seriously. You're gonna be like, why should I not do it even when I see you doing it? It's the same thing with kids. Kids don't listen to what you say unless what you say is backed by your actions. Then they listen. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, they'll have to listen because they're within your household. But the minute they get outside, they ain't gonna listen, because they're gonna be like, okay, I'm free now. They can't dictate what I'm doing when I'm not in the house. So they're gonna do whatever they want to do outside of the house, and that's when they're gonna be sneaky and doing all this types of stuff. But if they see that you say something and you follow it with action, then they're gonna respect you and they're gonna follow suit. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you build a bond with your kids. It's all about quality time. I'm telling y'all, it's all about spending the quality time with them, spending and engaging time with them, and not worrying about doing all this extra stuff, because all that stuff really doesn't matter to them at the end of the day. Because again, if we look back on, once I became an adult, I understood what my mother and other parents were going through, as far as having kids. So once you get that understanding, you go, man, it really wasn't even about the trips and, you know, the presents and the gifts and all that stuff. Yeah, that stuff was cool, and, you know, we enjoyed it, but what did we really want, and what did we really cherish? Who was there for us, and who was a positive role model within our lives? That's what we remember. You know what I'm saying? We all remember that one teacher who was a positive role model, who believed in us and who would speak life into us. We all remember that one person in our life who was there for us as a kid when times were hard. That's what you cherish when you get older. So when you have that knowledge, then you're able to understand that, yeah, okay, all this other stuff that we're doing is cool, but as far as building the actual strong bond between you and your kids, it's all about quality time, and it's all about them feeling the love, the genuine love that you have for them. And that's all they want at the end of the day. They just want to soak up good energy from you. You know what I'm saying? They want to feel like they matter. You know what I'm saying? So, and it really is just that simple. You don't really have to do a lot. You can sit there and color with them. You can play a game with them. You can talk to them. You could, you know, whatever the case may be, whatever y'all are doing. But it's the fact of when they were with you, they felt good. You know what I'm saying? They didn't feel feel fear or anxiety or stress, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? They remember that every time they were around you, they felt safe, comfortable, and it was a good time. You weren't trying to be over strict or under strict. It's a good balance. You wanna have a good balance, because at the end of the day, that's another thing we gotta understand, is that our kids are their own beings. So you can have a thought of how you want them to move and how you want them to be in life, but at the end of the day, the choice is up to them. All we are here to do is to make sure that they grow into adults, and then from there, it's up to them. You know what I'm saying? What they do, because it's their life. It's not up to us. So our job is just to guide them within their journey along a path of the least amount of pain that they can endure. That's within our control. You know what I'm saying? Because there are things that are going to happen that aren't in our control, but we can control some things. And what can we control is how we present ourselves to our children. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's about. Quality time. Quality, again, meaning good energy. You know what I'm saying? Speaking life into your child, not putting them down. Holding them accountable when it's necessary, but not talking down on them. You know what I'm saying? Lifting them up and empowering them to be the best versions of themselves that they can be, so they don't grow up with trauma or turmoil from their childhood that they have to deal with, like we might have. You know what I'm saying? It's about being a better version of yourself, so that they can see you by example and then strive to be like you, which will result in them being a better version or the best version of themselves, or striving to be the best version of themselves on a consistent basis. So that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I stay working on myself. I stay looking at myself and how I can better myself, so that I could be a good example for my children. You know what I mean? Because again, we've all made our mistakes. Nobody's a perfect parent, but if you see some certain patterns that you could do differently, or some way that you can clear up the energy around y'all, so that, you know, when your kids are with you, you can have a better experience, then that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Because they're the next generation, so you got to set them up for success. You know, and it's not about money. It's about energy. At the end of the day, you want them to be walking around with good energy and good confidence within themselves. And by being present and making yourself available as much as you can, that's what will harbor that good energy to flow to them and through them within their life. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, that's just my advice from what I've learned from being a parent. You know what I'm saying? Kids cannot thrive in chaos, you know, no more than any other being in this world. But kids are so much more impressionable than adults are. So we have to be careful with what type of environment that we have our kids in. And again, the things that we are speaking to them and the energy that's flowing from us to them. You know what I'm saying? Don't take your frustrations and stuff like that out on your kids. Learn how to leave that stuff where it needs to be, and then when you're dealing with your kids, deal with them with kindness and love. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all they want. They want love. They want your love and your time. You know what I mean? But it's the big homie, y'all. Mahalo.